Did you know? When a person is pushed to the brink, they will unhesitatingly grasp even the hand offered by the devil. That night, in the pouring rain of New York, I was the one who grabbed the devil's hand. And the price? My entire life. My car, is it comfortable? A low, magnetic voice, like a stone dropped into a deathly still lake, instantly yanked me from a hazy, half-conscious state. I snapped my eyes open, my heart pounding wildly. Under the soft glow of the starlight headliner, a face as handsome as an ancient Greek sculpture was quietly watching me. He sat in the driver's seat, his figure shrouded in darkness, as if he were one with the luxurious Rolls Royce. And I, the intruder, was like an ugly duckling that had stumbled into Swan Lake, disheveled and with nowhere to hide. Who was he? When did he get in the car? Fear, like a vine, instantly wrapped around my heart. Asterisk, asterisk, 3 hours earlier. Asterisk, asterisk. Get out. You're fired. The hotel manager's sharp voice, like an ice-cold dagger, stabbed me in the heart in front of dozens of well-dressed guests. A few hours ago, I was the youngest and most promising sous chef at New York's The Crown Hotel. My life, like the soufflés I meticulously crafted, was blooming perfectly at its peak until that damn plate of caviar was served. What is this? The congressman's roar still echoes in my ears. Are you trying to murder me? I rushed out to see a scene of chaos. My subordinate, Anna, was pointing at me with a look of panic. Ella, you were the last one to check the sauce. I was speechless. In that moment, I saw a fleeting, triumphant glint in her eyes. That look was colder and more piercing than the storm raging outside the city. Rain, mixed with tears, drenched me like a drowned rat. Just like that, I was abandoned by the world, on the cold streets of New York. I had lost my job, was burdened with my mother's exorbitant medical bills, and even the last ember of my dream seemed to have been extinguished by this downpour. Until I saw the car in the alley. It was like a black vortex, exuding a fatal attraction. In that moment, I couldn't care about anything else. I just wanted to find a place to hide and lick my wounds. The car door, surprisingly, was unlocked. I thought it was God's mercy, but I didn't know it was the devil's invitation. Who are you? I asked the man in the car, my voice trembling. He didn't answer. His eyes, as deep as obsidian, seemed to see through all my pretenses and my pathetic state. Ella James, 26 years old, sous chef at the Crown Hotel. Mother suffers from severe kidney failure and is in urgent need of a large sum for surgery. How did he know? My personal information, my deepest secret, was laid bare by him so casually. I was terrified and scrambled to escape. Wait, he said, his tone leaving no room for argument. His gaze, like the most precise scalpel, cut through my pride. The caviar that ruined the congressman's dinner. Anna switched your sauce. She took $50,000 from your rival restaurant. My mind exploded, going completely blank. Not only did he know my background, but he also knew the details of how I was framed. Who on earth are you? He started the car, pulling smoothly out of the alley, his voice laced with a hint of amusement. Someone who can give you a chance for revenge and also drag you into hell. Which one will you choose, Ella? The car stopped in front of my dilapidated apartment building. He handed me a pure black, gold embossed business card with only a phone number on it. Call me tomorrow at 10 in the morning, he said, looking at me with a meaningful smile. Otherwise, the kidney your mother is waiting for on the list might be pushed to next year. With that, he drove away. The luxurious phantom melted silently into the rainy night, leaving me alone, clutching the invitation that seemed to have come from hell, my body ice cold. That night, I not only lost everything, but also got involved with a man more terrifying than a New York storm. The next day, I had 2 dark circles under my eyes, having barely slept. Last night's experience was so bizarre that I even began to doubt if the man and the car were just a hallucination. But when the clock struck 10, the doorbell rang right on time. I looked through the peephole, and my heart skipped another beat. It was him, the man whose name I didn't know. Today, he was wearing a casual gray cashmere sweater, which softened the sharp edges of the previous night, giving him a more relaxed, at-home look. But that innate air of nobility and pressure remained undiminished. I opened the door and stood there awkwardly. "You, why are you here?" He didn't answer, walking straight in. His eyes quickly scanned my pathetically small rental apartment, his brow furrowing almost imperceptibly. "Ella," he said my name for the first time, his voice still low and pleasant. "You were framed. I've already investigated it. It was your subordinate, Anna, who deliberately swapped your sauce to get the head chef position." My eyes widened in shock. "You? How do you know?" "There's nothing I want to know that I can't find out," he said nonchalantly, as if it were a trivial matter. He placed the file folder on the coffee table in front of me. "The evidence is in here. You can take it back to the hotel and clear your name." I opened the folder with trembling hands. Inside were not only clear screenshots from security footage, but also chat logs of Anna's private dealings with the supplier. It was evidence I could never have obtained in a single day, no matter how hard I tried. "Who are you?" I asked again. He finally gave me an answer. Damien Blackwood. The name was legendary in New York. The mysterious controller of the Blackwood Financial Group. A legendary figure on Wall Street, known for his iron-fisted methods. It was rumored that he was intensely private and rarely appeared in public. But any project he handled was a major move that shook the market. I never dreamed that I, a chef from the bottom rungs of society, would ever cross paths with such a person. "Mr. Blackwood, thank you." "This kindness, I don't need your thanks," Damien interrupted. "I'm here to offer you a job." He paused, then stated a condition I couldn't refuse. "Be my exclusive chef for 1 month. The salary will be enough to cover all of your mother's surgery and recovery costs for the next 5 years, plus an apartment next to Central Park." I was completely stunned. "Why?" "Because I like your cooking." His gaze fell on my hands, which were calloused from years of working with knives and flames. "The award-winning A Midsummer Night's Dream at the Crown Hotel, that was your creation, wasn't it?" "I had it once. The taste was very special." My heart warmed. It was the only work of mine that had ever received industry recognition, and my proudest creation. To be affirmed like this, especially by someone like Damien, a complex emotion spread through me. "However, there's one condition," he added. "For this month, you must live at my place and be on call at all times." Live at his place? An exclusive chef for a month? It sounded like a fairy tale. "Friends, what do you think? Isn't this condition strange? Why would a high and mighty financial emperor make such a strange request of a down-and-out chef? What secret is hidden behind this? If you were me, would you agree?" I hesitated. His world was too far from mine. That gilded cage was full of unknowns. But thinking of my mother's hopeful eyes in the hospital, I gritted my teeth. "Okay, I accept." Damien's home, or rather, his empire, was located at the top of a skyscraper overlooking Manhattan. The 360-degree floor-to-ceiling windows offered a view of the entire city's glittering lights. The luxury here was beyond my imagination. Every piece of furniture, every work of art, reeked of money. My job was to prepare 3 meals for him every day. He was very picky, but he seemed to like everything I made, especially that A Midsummer Night's Dream, which he had almost every week. In the vast penthouse, besides him and me, there was a stoic bodyguard and butler, Julian. He was like a shadow, always silent, but his sharp eyes were constantly vigilant. The first few days were quiet and peaceful. I focused on creating new dishes, and Damien was busy with his work. We rarely communicated about anything other than food, but gradually I discovered a side of him that no one knew. He would sit tiredly at the bar late at night, just to wait for me to bring him a warm bowl of creamy mushroom soup. He would casually hand me a precious antique cookbook when I was struggling with creative block. He would even clumsily bandage my finger himself when I cut it. This man, so ruthless in the eyes of the world, occasionally showed a rare gentleness in front of me. and my heart, in this day-to-day interaction, fell for him uncontrollably until the arrival of his sister, Isabella, shattered this peace. Isabella was a dazzling socialite. The way she looked at me was full of scrutiny and undisguised hostility. "Ella, is it?" she said, swirling the champagne in her glass with a radiant smile. "My brother has never brought a woman home before. You'd better know your place and stay in line." Her words were like a bucket of cold water, waking me up. Yes, what was I? Just a chef on a 1-month contract. That night, Damien was particularly tired and irritable due to an important overseas merger. I made him a calming chamomile souffle. As he sat on the sofa, he opened up to me for the first time. He told me his mother had passed away when he was very young. She had loved to study cuisine, and the taste of A Midsummer Night's Dream was almost identical to a dessert she used to make. "Eating it feels like going back to my childhood," he said, his voice holding a vulnerability I had never seen before. In that moment, all my defenses crumbled. I walked over and gently hugged him from behind. His body stiffened. Then he turned around, looking at me with a deep, scorching gaze that I couldn't decipher. "Ella." He kissed me. The kiss, which started as a tentative exploration, turned into a storm that swept away all my reason. That night, we crossed the line between employer and employee. I naively thought this might be a new beginning. However, I was too naive. A meticulously planned deception was just beginning to unfold. The next day, Damien went to the office. I was still basking in the sweet afterglow, preparing his dinner menu. I accidentally knocked over a file box in his study, and its contents scattered across the floor. As I hurriedly picked them up, I saw a document that sent a chill down my spine. Asterisk the crown. Hotel VIP Customer Allergy Incident Response Plan. Asterisk, the document clearly detailed every step. How to bribe Anna to switch my sauce. How to guide the hotel management to place all the blame on me. How to coincidentally appear when I was at my most desperate. Every step was planned flawlessly, and the signatory on the document was Damien Blackwood. So there was no colleague betrayal. From beginning to end, it was a drama he had directed himself. He had ruined my job, my reputation, my everything, and then appeared like a savior to rescue me and bring me to his side. My blood ran cold. A chill shot up from my feet to the top of my head. This man didn't love me. He was hunting me. I was just a carefully selected replacement, someone who could cook a dish that tasted like his mother's. When he came back that night, I slammed the document down in front of him. "What is this? Damien, explain yourself." I screamed hysterically, tears streaming down my face uncontrollably. He looked at the document, not a hint of surprise on his face, not even a shred of guilt. He just looked at me calmly, as if I were a petulant child throwing a tantrum. "Yes, I did it," he admitted, so matter-of-factly. "Why?" "Because I wanted you to stay with me, Ella." He walked towards me, his eyes deep and obsessive. "The first time I tasted your A Midsummer Night's Dream at the hotel's annual gala, I knew I had to have you. The normal way was too slow. I don't have that kind of patience." A madman. He was a complete and utter madman. "You ruined my life," I cried, backing away step by step. "No, I gave you a better one." He pressed forward, cornering me. "Your so-called dreams and dignity are worthless in my eyes. Only by my side are you safe, are you whole." As we were arguing fiercely, suddenly, the entire building's power system failed, and the dim emergency lights flickered on. "Miss Ella, stay where you are. Don't move." Julian's voice was more serious than ever before. Then I heard a faint noise from outside the door, like someone prying at the electronic lock. My heart leaped into my throat. Damien's expression changed instantly. He immediately pulled me behind him. The murderous aura that erupted from him in that moment was almost suffocating. He took a handgun from a hidden compartment in the wall. The sounds of a fierce fight came from outside, though deliberately suppressed. The muffled thuds of flesh meeting flesh made me tremble. At that moment, my mind was a chaotic mess. Did I hate him? Of course, but looking at the solid back he presented as he shielded me, My heart pounded uncontrollably. A few minutes later, the fighting outside subsided. There was a trickle of blood at the corner of Damien's mouth, but his eyes were still icy. "It's over," he said to me, his voice hoarse. I looked at the mess on the floor, and my legs gave out. I was terrified. I just wanted to live a normal, peaceful life, not one where my life could be in danger at any moment. Especially not with the manipulative devil who had deceived me. There were 3 days left on the contract. I decided that as soon as the contract was up, I would escape from here. No matter what, after the betrayal and terror of that night, I had completely given up on him. I locked myself in my room, refusing to eat or drink, using silence as my protest. Damien didn't force me. He just had Julian leave food at my door every day. We had a fierce argument, the most serious conflict since we had met. Just then, I suddenly felt the world spin. My vision went black, and I lost consciousness. When I woke up, I was in my bed. A family doctor was packing up his medical kit. Damien sat by the bed, his expression complex a mixture of fear and a strange, ecstatic joy. You're pregnant," he said, looking at me, enunciating each word. His voice trembling slightly with emotion. My mind went blank. "No, impossible. The doctor just did a blood test. The results are clear." His tone was absolute, and a fervent flame burned in his eyes, the possessive look of someone who had secured his prize. "Ella, you're not going anywhere. You and this child must stay by my side." He leaned down and gently caressed my still flat stomach, his eyes so tender they could melt. "This is my child, the next heir to the Blackwood family." He confessed everything to me. It turned out that the Blackwood Group was not just a business empire. Behind it was a powerful centuries-old family with deep-rooted connections, the Blackwood Syndicate. This family controlled many gray area industries, had its own armed security forces, and its power was so immense it could influence the economic lifelines of many regions. And he, Damien Blackwood, was the soon-to-be-crowned godfather of this vast empire. "Stay with me, Ella," he said, taking my hand, his gaze more serious than ever before. "I can give you and the child the best protection in the world, but if you leave, you and the child will become targets for my countless enemies." It was a sweet cage, a trap woven with love and danger. From that moment on, my life was forcibly tied to his war chariot, with no turning back. The Blackwood family's annual gala was held on a heavily guarded private island. It wasn't just a family dinner. It was the coronation ceremony where Damien would officially take the reins of power from his father, and I, as his designated mistress, had to attend. Damien placed a dazzling sapphire ring on my finger, a family heirloom that had belonged to his mother. The cool touch of the ring was a constant reminder of the treacherous world I was about to step into. At the gala, I met the legendary patriarch of the Blackwood family, Damien's father, a powerful and imposing old man. The core members of the family all appeared elegant and proper, but their eyes held shrewdness and calculation. I wore a magnificent gown, my arm linked with Damien's, like a marionette, smiling as I endured everyone's scrutiny. Just as the handover ceremony was about to begin, the unexpected happened. An uninvited guest, Marcus Thorne, the heir to the Thorne Group, the Blackwood Group's biggest rival, crashed the party with his men. "Damien," Marcus' eyes were filled with venom. "You think you can sit on this throne without a care in the world today? I'm going to show everyone how you, this cold-blooded tyrant, used dirty tricks to swallow my father's company and drive him to his death." The scene erupted in an uproar. Marcus's gaze suddenly shifted to me, like a poisonous snake. "And Miss Ella, I'm afraid you don't know yet. Do you? How much blood and tears are on the hands of the man beside you? Will the child in your belly inherit this sin as well?" All eyes were on me. I felt like I was suffocating, but Damien was exceptionally calm. He shielded me behind him and looked at Marcus peacefully, as if he were watching a clown. "My father's death was a culprit murder. You orchestrated it. Marcus screamed hysterically. Corporate murder! Damien laughed, his voice filled with contempt. Marcus, I think you're mistaken. Your father died of his own stupidity and greed. As for why you're standing here today, it's not because your bodyguards are so capable, but because I allowed you in. He snapped his fingers. The large screen in the banquet hall instantly began to play videos and display documents. Irrefutable evidence of the Thorn Group's internal financial deficits, illegal transactions, and Marcus's embezzlement of public funds in an attempt to frame Blackwood. You. Marcus's face was ashen. Take him down and entertain him well, Damien ordered Julian. A crisis that could have toppled the entire family was resolved by him just like that. In that moment, I truly witnessed the power and skill of this man. That aura of complete control was terrifying, yet strangely captivating. After the turmoil subsided, I thought it was all over. I picked up a glass of juice in front of me to calm my nerves. Sister-in-law, don't drink that. Isabella suddenly appeared beside me. Smiling sweetly, she took another glass from a waiter's tray. This one is freshly squeezed. It's better for the baby. She swapped my glass without waiting for a reply. I smiled at her gratefully. Maybe she wasn't as bad as I thought. The ceremony continued. Damien's father officially announced he was passing the torch to him. Just as Damien was about to accept the signet ring that symbolized the family's highest power, I suddenly felt a sharp pain in my abdomen. Ah! I couldn't help but cry out in pain, the glass slipping from my hand and shattering on the floor. Ella! Damien's eyes were wide with terror as he rushed to my side and held me. Quick, get a doctor. The scene descended into chaos. Just then, Julian strode quickly to Damien's side, his face grim, and handed him a small detector showing a dangerous red alert. Sir, Julian's voice was thick with suppressed anger. The juice from before contained a high concentration of an abortifacient drug. I've detained the bartender. He confessed that the young miss ordered him to do it. What? All eyes shot to Isabella. Damien, holding me, slowly raised his head. His eyes held no warmth, only a murderous, thousand-mile frost. He looked at his only sister, his voice as cold as if it came from hell itself. Why? Isabella's face was pale, but her eyes were filled with a crazed jealousy and resentment. Why? On what grounds? On what grounds does this woman of unknown origin get to carry your child, get mother's ring, and stand in this position? I am the young miss of the Blackwood family. I've given so much for the family. I made political marriages. I navigated social circles. I cleared so many obstacles for you. On what grounds do you give everything to a slut who can only cook? On the grounds that she is the woman I love and the mother of my child. Damien said, each word laced with agony. And you have betrayed even my most basic trust. Take her away. Damien closed his eyes, his voice filled with exhaustion and resolve. Send her to the estate in Australia. Without my order, she is never to return. No, brother, you can't do this to me, Isabella shrieked as she was dragged away. Damien didn't look at her again. He picked me up and, under the gaze of hundreds of family members, strode towards the medical room. He walked up to me, knelt on one knee, took my hand, and placed a devout kiss upon it. Ella! He looked up, his deep eyes filled for the first time with undisguised love and tenderness. From this day on, I am not only the leader of the Blackwood family, but also your husband and the father of our child. I promise you, I will use everything I have to build the safest kingdom for you and our child. Marry me, will you? My tears finally broke free. Friends, now that the story has come to this, I want to ask you all, faced with such a powerful, domineering man who is willing to promise you an entire kingdom, would you say I do? I looked at him, at this man who had stormed into my life, turned it upside down, and yet had given me the utmost protection and love. Through my tears, I nodded heavily. I do. Asterisk, asterisk. 1 year later, asterisk, asterisk. On Fifth Avenue, New York, A French restaurant named Ella's Dream had its grand opening. The owner was me, Ella. Damien kept his promise. He used his resources and connections to help me realize my dream. And I, with my talent, turned this small restaurant into a new culinary landmark in New York. Our baby, nicknamed Aiden, was already 6 months old. He looked like Damien, but when he smiled, his eyes crinkled like mine. Damien was still the formidable underground emperor, but he saved all his tenderness for Aiden and me. He would cancel billion-dollar deals just to attend my restaurant's opening ceremony. He would clumsily learn to change diapers and feed the baby, reveling in the joy of fatherhood. He had built a true kingdom for us, a home without danger, only love and warmth. That day, the sun was shining brightly. I was holding Aiden, sunbathing at an outdoor table in front of the restaurant. Damien, having finished his company business, came back early to see us. He walked over, hugged me from behind, and rested his chin gently on top of my head. "What are you thinking about?" he asked. I turned and looked at his handsome profile and smiled. "I was thinking, on that rainy night a year ago, if I hadn't hidden in your car, what would my life be like now?" He smiled too, leaning down to kiss my forehead. "There are no ifs. Even if it hadn't rained that day, we would have met in a restaurant on some street corner. Ella, you are my fated destiny, and my only salvation." Yes, fate is just that strange. A desperate encounter opened the door to a love that was written in the stars. It once filled me with fear and made me struggle, but in the end, love conquered all. Thank you for listening. This story tells us that true love may come with storms and challenges, but it will also ultimately give us the most solid support and the warmest harbor. May every one of you who is chasing a dream be able to pass through the storm and see the rainbow. May your life be as sweet as a midsummer night's dream.